Hello everybody, thank you so much for clicking on this video. This will be my breakdown for episode 3 of Moon Knight. So I absolutely love this episode. I think this is one of my favorite NCU episodes so far. I absolutely love the trip throughout Egypt, and it ends on a cliffhanger that has a lot to unpack from it. So let's start with the breakdown. Now we begin with Lyra picking up a passport from an old friend. Desperate to catch up with Mark, had to take the long way around and fly to Egypt. However, in this episode we learn there are passages that the guards have access that can allow you to get around faster. Though Khonshu says the enemy tend to do this, having this ability will explain why Lyra is a bit behind him and having to get a passport quickly. Now, the person carrying them out clearly knows who Mark is, and we saw last episode that he had a passport and a look, so potentially also made by this woman. Now in this episode we get a very big hint towards Jake Lockley being part of the show, and in case you don't know, this is a third personality where we haven't been introduced in the series yet. Now I actually think that Mark was well aware of Steven and that he's been the one covering things up with his Jake has been going balls to the wall with it. Now we get a split second shot of Lyra's name on the passport. Her name is El Fali, and with her middle being Adala, this might be a possible reference to Adala Oman. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly, who is a stuntman for the show. Her job also says antiquities dealer, and this is likely her real occupation, joined by her father. In the comments, Marlene was at the dig site. Mark traveled out to a wild bushman. Wait, after he killed all the archaeologists that end up leaving Mark and a dead door. And this is when he was carried before the shrine of Khonshu and he became the Avatar Moon Knight. And it's likely that we see this play out in the series. Now later on, Harold reveals to her that Mark knows more about her dad's death than his later on, and this caused a lot of tension in the car ride that they have. Mark ended up avenging Marlene's father, and in the comments, so you probably end up having to avenge Lyra's here. Now we cut to the desert and we find Harold and his followers and the golden square compass, and this is very inspired by the Indiana Jones, even the showrunner has said so. Now the bad news is that Mark is close by too, and we get an awesome action scene in which he sprints across rooftop to meet a contact. Now the contact is killed and we get some cool action scenes. And we see the reflection of Steven in the knives. Now Steven seemingly takes over the body during this time, and we get a purple flashes, and this is somewhere mirrors the color of the purple boat that we get later on, and Khonshu's magic at the end. And it's likely that in this series that Moon Knight's power is someone brought out out to the dark dimension, and each magic in the NCU has its own specific color. Purple is dark magic, orange is standard, red is chaos, green is twisted magic, and golden is calmness. Now Mark wakes up in the cab, and he tries to talk to the guys that he tried to kill, and then leave us to a chase scene, and then he's get hit over the head, and we get like a split tanja, and he goes from holding a guy against the wall to holding him with a knife. And I think that was Jake. Jake in the comic is the other personality. Now he tries to get the info from the kid of the group that he refused to hurt badly before. However, rather than giving up Harold's location, he cuts his tie after saying praises to Army. Now Mac requests an audience with the guards, and Kanchu says that this line sets up the ending of the episode. Angry them enough, and they will imprison me. Now Kanchu also brings up the protection of the healing armor, which explains how Mr. Knight can get speed up later on and still fight on. Now the guards arrive, and Harold is alerted by this, and he's called on to the meeting of the evening. We discover Kanchu was banished by the guards the last time they spoke, and he's very much getting close to the third strike. The meeting is held in the Great Pyramid of Guards, which is a nod to the first episode that we see the little girl in. Now inside Giza, we get several geezers that also the avatar of Hedo, and Hedo is the goddess of music and love, and she was also a character in Marvel Comics. Now the gods take over the avatars, and we hear the names of the others like Horus and Osiris. Now Khonshu calls for judgment against our true hero because he plans to release Army. Now we don't know exactly what Heroes the gods is being something bad he did. They may destroy the creature. Amen. Now Heather realized what's going on, and due to her relationship with Khonshu, she gives Mark some advice, and that is that someone knows the location of Army. And at this point, Lara catches up with Mark, and the pair travel out to meet Antu Morgan. Now Mac spot Harold's men, and they show up later on the scene to cause chaos. There is a mention of Matripo, a very important city in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series. Now Stephen Fools shears and the shapes of the pyramid, and he ends up disarming Anton's bodyguard. Now Harold destroyed the suckers to destroy the location of Army for them, to Steven and Mark. Now from here on out, we get an amazing action scene with Moon Knight and Lyra taking down Anton's forces. He almost gets killed with his fire, and Steven takes control at this point and tries to use this diplomacy to calm down the situation down. Then he gives Mark control, and in a really silly bit where Moon Knight imposes someone on one of the spears. Now Anta tries to kill Moon Knight, and Moon Knight seemingly kisses him throughout. He got away. He likely be back. Now in the car ride, they discover Lila's father. In the desert, they tried to piece together the map, but unfortunately they discovered that they needed to know exactly what the sky looked like on that day. At this time, Conchu steps forward and reveals that he remembers what the sky looks like on that night. Now, Kenjin of Ame was a victim, and for all the gods throughout, he says he remembered that night. It's clearly the one has struck with him. Now, in a real cool and atmospheric scene, Conchu and Mac turn back the night sky so they aligns with the map. And it's moments like this that I think that really elevates the show and brings out the correct constellation. Unfortunately, as a constellation for doing this, Conchu is imprisoned in stone by the gods, and they have trapped him. And he does instruct Steven to turn back to save him. So I think we're going to get a rescue mission later on. In the end, Conchu is trapped, and the god says that to Hera that he can probably hear what's going on. And as we learned last week, Hera was the old avatar of Conchu, and he stated that he enjoyed dealing out pain in his name. Now, this was a fantastic episode. And we get a little bit of character development here, and also some really cool action scenes that just simply I adore. So we're in the mid-season of this series, and so far so good. So I'm curious to see how this is going to move forward. Very interesting so far, and I hope we see more of the gods, the Egyptian gods, and also the personality of Jake. So it's going to be a wild ride. So that's my breakdown for episode 3 of Moon Knight. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and let me know in the comments below what do you think of the episode. And if you enjoyed this video, share this video with your friend, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. See you guys later.